All right, in this debate, we're diving into one of the biggest questions about human behavior. Do we truly have free will, or are we just products of biology and environment? Josh makes some strong points about human agency, morality, and responsibility, but I'm going to break down the key moments, clarify the logic, and ask some questions that really cut to the heart of the issue.
Because I personally don't think that it's okay to...
So it's just a personal belief, it's just your preference that... Bad.
I think that, so are we going to switch to a morality debate, or do you want to stay on the topic?
It's all the same thing.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No,
it all, again, there's only three legs to worldviews.
This is
okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, then go into morality.
No, I don't want to go into morality.
We are.
No, this is a free will debate.
Exactly. So, well, morality entails free will. What are you talking about?
No, you don't have to talk about
Yes,
morality.
you do.
You do not need to talk about
yes,
ethics.
You do.
This is like, you can talk about this from a purely neuroscience, like,
no,
or you can talk about it from philosophy.
You can't come here and debate determinism and then refuse to even engage with morality and ethical discussions.
Okay.
Josh is making a strong point here. Morality is inherently tied to free will. If our choices were purely determined by biology or environment, then nothing could be objectively right or wrong. That's why he's emphasizing the link between worldview, ethics, and human agency. Now, let's break it down. He mentions the three legs to worldviews, which I'd clarify as logic, ethics, and human agency. Without these, it's easy to dodge responsibility. And here's the key question. If someone's actions are fully determined, how can we hold them accountable? If accountability exists, doesn't that automatically imply some degree of human agency?
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So I feel like I haven't been able to. What causes people to act the way that they do?
It's a series of factors. They have their own human agency. Again,
Can
nurture and
nature. Can you explain that? Any proof or evidence of that?
Will you let me freaking talk? I mean, I say one sentence and you're already cutting me off.
Let them finish if you can. Go ahead.
So again, there's multiple factors that contribute to the way that people exist in the world. Human agency, again, nature and nurture. All these things are included. It's not one or the other. And the idea that we have to just restrict our defense to just one particular one, that's ridiculous. That's not how the world works. It's both and.
Okay.
There's multiple.
Here's where Josh could go further. Yes, multiple factors shape us. But the key question is how they interact with free will. Even with biology and environment in play, humans make choices. So where does determinism end and agency begin?
Factors that contribute, that shape to a human person, their parents, trauma, environment, genetics, all these things are included, but that doesn't deny that people have human agency and free will. And so if free will doesn't exist, you cannot make any moral claim because nobody is morally responsible, nobody is ethically responsible. And this would be true for the history of injustices, this would be true for the...
Notice he connects free will to moral responsibility historically. I'd ask, if humans weren't agents, could we even call historical wrongs wrong? This is the critical point. Accountability requires choice.
Patriarchy.
So I just want to keep...
Can I finish a thought? That would be true for patriarchy, that would be true for SA, that would be true for reparations, that would be true for slavery. All these things entail that there is some type of moral arbiter that differentiates between good and bad.
Okay.
Your worldview does not allow that to even occur.
What is this human agency? Like, can you just define it for me? I'm clueless. What is that?
This is where Josh needs to hit harder. Human agency isn't vague. It's the capacity to make reasoned choices despite influences. So I'd ask, how do we distinguish actions truly chosen from those merely programmed by biology or society?
Yeah, for me as a Christian, it's being made in the image of God, Genesis 1:26.
All right, so it's every human has this human agency. It means you're made in the image of God.
Correct.
And God gives you this human agency, correct?
Being made in the image of God, yes.
All right, so if every person gets this human agency, they're given at birth, essentially, right? So what makes some people's human agency act differently than other people's?
We just said there's a whole contributing list of factors.
All right, so the other factors you labeled had to do with nature and nurture, the biology and the environment. You talked about
those
parents.
are included.
Right, so if these two things that we agreed already are fixed, right, our biology...
They're not fixed.
Yes, they are.
He should clarify. Yes, biology sets constraints, but it doesn't remove agency. Think about it. Even if your reflexes are hardwired, you can still choose your responses consciously. The real question: how do biological predispositions interact with moral responsibility?
You don't control the biology that you inherit.
Your environment changes.
Do you control the biology that you inherit?
Well, biology.
Yes or no?
Biology is
Yes or no?
fixed.
Okay,
your environment is not fixed because you can change environments.
So
that was a dumb argument.
Guys,
that was a dumb argument.
Let each other finish.
And here's a chance to stay sharp. Calling it dumb isn't enough. You can follow with logic. Just because some elements are fixed doesn't mean choice disappears. Agency can coexist with constraints.
Go ahead, finish.
That's a dumb argument because biology, yeah, but we're talking about nature and nurture,
Yeah.
and so environments can actually change.
Okay, so your biology is fixed, right? So what would make someone want to change their environment? Just like, give me an example.
They want new scenery.
Why would they want new scenery?
You tell me. You have to ask them.
No.
You have to ask them.
Okay, right. So if we were look at the reason why someone has a preference for new scenery, we can look at things like just
Josh's point about determinants is solid, but I'd push. Even if preferences are shaped early, choosing to act on them now requires agency. So here's the question. If all choices were predetermined, why would someone deliberate at all?
like what they're like kind of exposed to at a young age. For example, like if they grew up around beaches, maybe they would like beaches. Or it could just be like the things that they've been shown like through TV, media, etc. All this stimuli. However, at this young age, where all these core beliefs are being like kind of taught to you and instilled in you, you don't control any of that, right? Your preferences are made at this like a younger age. We see this idea of core beliefs come up a lot in psychology, where like your deepest beliefs about society and yourself, who you are, this illusion of free will, and the self comes about a lot of times when you're younger, right? So even now, when you have the agency now to change environment, which you don't really have that agency when you're like 2 years old. Let's say you're like 20 and you can move. That preference that we're talking about to change scenery or to fly to Paris comes from determined, right? Like circumstances. That's what we're saying. In any given event, we keep asking why you wanted this thing or why you did this thing. It is either coming from like some internal, like some nurture, right? Something like that has been like experienced, or from someone's biology. That's what we're saying. And once again, this human agency, you haven't explained in any regard how this thing, like if it's first of all, if it's given to you from God, how is it yours? Like, how did you choose your human agency? Number one. And number two, when we look at how it interacts with your biology, if biology affects your human agency, we know that that's fixed, that's already out of your control once again. So it comes down to the same
That doesn't
problem.
mean that, again, but that's a non sequitur. There's a logical non sequitur to say just because your biology is determined, that limits or curtails all human agency. That makes no sense.
Exactly. This is where Josh could strengthen his argument. Determinism sets context, not command. Humans can reason and override impulses. So I'd ask, what evidence actually shows humans can act against deterministic predictions?
What is human agency? It's your
the
design.
ability to have free will, the ability to make decisions, rational deliberation, moral responsibility,
Can you define
love, these types of things actually insinuate free will.
You're begging the question in defining free will. Free will is free will. Agency is agency.
That's not begging the question.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Human agency and free will mean the same thing. Can you give a distinction?
Exactly.
Josh should clarify. Human agency and free will aren't identical. Agency is the capacity to act. Free will is the choice among options. This distinction is critical. Otherwise, determinists can keep confusing the two.
But my
So
point
you're saying
is,
human agency is human agency.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
And you're not explaining
I'm saying human agency.
any reason why we have that.
Okay, I'll make an easy argument here. You cannot have rational deliberation. You cannot have moral responsibility without human agency and free will.
definitely
and therefore,
can't have.
let me finish.
Sorry, yeah.
And therefore, you can actually not have a universal epistemology or make universal truth claims. You cannot make moral and ethical truth claims, which is the point, and that's why you're already shying away from getting in any type of moral ethical debate, because you have no leg to stand on in regards to deliberating and differentiating why white people did this in history, why this is bad and this is unjust. You have no basis to actually define those.
Okay.
This is the strong part. Without agency, moral claims collapse. I'd also point out, even if determinism is true in some contexts, the ability to reason and act is evidence humans aren't fully bound, which supports accountability and ethics.
So once again, you still have not proven why it exists. You're saying if it doesn't exist, then this.
Exactly.
That's not an argument
no,
for
that's
it.
actually
No, it's
logical.
not. No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Anyone can like go ahead and like pull up their
You can't have knowledge without it.
So,
you cannot have knowledge. You cannot sit here and make knowledge claims.
A reason would be some type of evidence or proof that something exists.
It's to the
You have
exclusion of
said
the
that
opposite.
Nope.
Yes,
let
it
me
is.
continue. So to give a reason for something would be, oh yeah, human agency exists because we can look at this and this proves it. Or we can
neuroscience.
Look at,
The arguments that demonstrate when people reach a threshold, they're able to stop that.
Perfect spot to add context. Neuroscience shows potential for stopping actions, which demonstrates emergent agency. I'd ask, if our brains were fully deterministic, how can we consciously veto impulses? This is exactly why determinism doesn't disprove free will.
I didn't get to finish. Thank you. So,
God.
okay. Anyway,
so
when we look at human agency, you have said that the outcome would be blank. We can talk about moral responsibility. I would love to do that, but human agency has still not been evidenced by you. You're saying that neuroscientists have found, right, that I don't actually know how your neuroscience. Like, we can actually talk about your neuroscience claim.
To the exclusion of the opposite. These are using laws of logic, right? So if free will doesn't exist, you can't have knowledge claims. If you can't have knowledge claims, then if there is knowledge, therefore free will exists. That is and again, I can just use easy syllogisms. Do you have a syllogism for determinism? Do you have a logical syllogism that actually you
can? Actually, I do.
Okay,
I have one in relation to God, but I do want to touch on this neuroscience point. How do you think that neuroscience entails or like free will?
Because there's been multiple experiments. This is, again, getting back to David Schurger's 2012 article, RP as Neural Noise, have demonstrated that when these neurological effects reach the cascade point, that a determinist would say, okay, now they have to do the action. We have multiple experiments to show that people can choose not to. And the fact that they can choose not to do it demonstrates they have some type of agency against the deterministic framework of the brain and neurological processes that you would argue.
Determinists are not saying that you are bound by like your inherited biology.
It depends on who you're talking about, and you're making a generalized claim. Okay, so don't say determinist then, because actually many determinists do. When you come into this debate and you give me like some type of like refutation, it's like tailored to me and like. Well, you have
right. So you've made some general like blanket like statement and said it replies to like determinists.
Well, that just demonstrates human agency. You asked me to demonstrate human agency. Multiple neuroscience arguments do that.
Can I finish?
You just asked me to demonstrate agency.
I'm responding to you.
Full neuroscience arguments have done that.
This like Andrew Wilson debate tactic is so old. There's so many of you.
Andrew Wilson debate tactic?
But anyway,
what are you talking about?
So back to what I was saying. So in regards to like determinism in of itself, not all determinists have to entail that like. I don't think any determinists entail that like you can't act differently than like in some way like your biology predicts. That's not true. And also,
actually, there are some that do.
Well, that's not mean. You're dating me.
I didn't say that. Anyway, did I say some that do, or did I say Xena?
If you're bringing in an argument, it should be a refutation against my point.
I'm saying generally, regards to the argument. You're talking about determinism. You're talking about determinism. I said determinism, generally speaking. All right.
Okay.
So keep up. You're like 3 steps behind.
Okay. So when we talk about when someone acts against any type of like biological stimuli, there's still a reason for that is going to like bottom out in nurture. So that what you just brought up is not a refutation against determinism.
It is. The entire field of neuroscience, this is why they believe that there's human agency. This is why the philosophy of mind has adopted emergentism and believes that human agency is an irreducible fact.
Emergentism is key. Josh should stress that, even if physical laws govern neurons, agency arises as an irreducible phenomenon. So the question to pose is, how can a deterministic framework explain moral reflection or deliberation?
Someone choosing against
so
some
you're
type
saying
of
that's not the case in the philosophy of mind right now.
I'm saying that what you're saying does not
in the philosophy of mind, you're saying that's not the case. The majority of philosophers in the philosophy of mind do not believe that human agency is an irreducible fact.
I think that if they meet it in the compatibilist
let's talk about
sense,
the field.
No, if we talk about a field, if they meet it in the compatibilist sense, that might be true. I think that a lot of neuroscientists and a lot of philosophers are like compatibilists, but I don't believe that they believe in this.
No, they are not.
No, I know for a fact actually most philosophers don't believe in libertarian free will. That's been like it's been debunked.
No, it's not.
Yes, it does.
No, it does. Okay, you're just making shit up right now because this is not even the case of academic.
You can look it up.
I actually write academic papers. I actually write books and stuff. So I actually deal in these circles and I deal with philosophers.
That makes me happy because it must not be that hard. Sorry.
Ad hominem already. Wow. So we're off to a great start.
You almost called me the R word earlier.
The R word? What?
Yeah, I heard.
Oh. The R word.
I don't know if that's supposed to be.
We can
get back to the debate,
my gosh.
You guys wanted to did
your Fifi? Yeah, did your Fifis get hurt?
I didn't say I was hurt.
Well, it sounds like it.
It sounds like you were hurt when I ad hominem'd you.
Well, my point is that it's a logical fallacy and demonstrate.
Josh nails it, pointing out that personal attacks never defeat an argument. What matters is sticking to logic, pressing for clarity, and testing ideas against evidence. That's the kind of debate worth watching. I'll close the reaction here. If you found this breakdown valuable, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and jump into the comments with your own perspective.